Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4 on this Monday. Hope you all had a good weekend. Better weekend than the Wisconsin sports teams.
Oh, it was that Packer game hurt, didn't it? The Badger game, too.
Yeah, it was not good. We're going to get more on the Packers in just a little bit, but
rough weekend.
Not great. And Dr. Zorba Pastor will be along in this next hour taking your medical questions. So got something you want to ask the doctor? Start thinking up.
Yeah, Zorba will be here in the studio with us.
But first, crime news headlines this Monday edition of Live at 4. A woman has been arrested as a suspect in the fatal shooting in a Madison parking ramp early Sunday morning.
A Madison man who hit a couple while walking their dog on Midvale last spring, killing a 72-year-old, is in court and pleads guilty.
And the suspect in this weekend's synagogue shooting in Pittsburgh makes his first court appearance.
A lot of heavy news for a Monday. At least the weather is positive. Let's take a look outside today. Sunny and mild to start the work week.
Sun came out. Here's a bridge over some not troubled waters. The weather words for today, not too bad. And Dana Fulton is in the backyard weather patio. Pretty nice late October day.
Really pleasant outside for us. If you had a case of the Monday blues, hopefully the weather helped cheer you up just a little bit. We only have a few clouds in the sky right now. Feels fairly good. Finally feels like fall for us. Looking at our Doppler track, you can see a few showers off the western edge of Wisconsin, parts of Iowa, Minnesota in the last few hours, but light showers that direction. Did I mention light showers? Not a major event, and we really aren't seeing anything for us in central or southern Wisconsin. I haven't seen it for the last few hours and not expecting to see anything pop up as we head overnight. Temperature-wise, we're close to 51 right now in Madison, about 54 in Janesville, about 53 in Lone Rock. So a comfortable evening ahead compared to this time yesterday. It's actually a few degrees warmer. Yesterday didn't warm up all too much because we had that cloud deck overhead. It was a little dreary for Sunday. Not the case for us today. Over the next several hours, our temps are going to continue to drop, though. We'll see a few clouds building in overnight. And then as we head into tomorrow, we do have the chance to see some isolated showers again, especially southeast of Madison. We'll get a closer look at that forecast for what's ahead as we wrap up October and move into November in just a few minutes. Right now, I want to bounce on over to our first alert traffic and see what's going on the roadways currently. If you look throughout much of Dane County, the good news, not really seeing much traffic or any accidents right now on the Beltline. In fact, if you're heading eastbound, be cruising right at the speed limit for you, heading eastbound again, 58 and 55 miles per hour. Middleton looks okay, and then things down in Janesville also sliding along just fine along 39. A little bit of a slowdown there in downtown, but not too bad. Speeds all look good, exactly what you should be going. Time-wise, things look good, and a lot of green on the map, but it is just now getting to 4 o'clock, so traffic things, can switch anytime over the next hour or so, but we'll keep a close eye on traffic. And again, that forecast for the rest of the week. I'll give you both updates in just a few minutes.
We will see you in a few minutes.
We can see the patio is starting the Halloween
yes.
transformation.
Yes.
A couple days away.
Very close.
All right, Dana, thank you.
Thanks, Dana. First at 4, there has been an arrest in the fatal shooting in the State Street ramp over the weekend.
Madison police arrested 21-year-old Kenyara Gatson this morning. She is a suspect in the shooting of 21-year-old Steven Villegas, who was shot in the torso around 2 a.m. Sunday morning and later died at the hospital. Police said surveillance images and information from witnesses led to the identification of Gatson. She is facing first-degree intentional homicide charges. And a guilty plea for the Madison man who hit a couple walking their dog on Midvale Boulevard in April.
That collision killed 72-year-old Gregory Namitz and badly injured his wife Patricia as they walked their dog. Eric Franke has more on the case against Benjamin Cortez. Eric?
Susan and Mark, you'll recall prosecutors cited airbag data in Benjamin Cortez's car that indicated he was going over 100 miles per hour just 4 seconds before impact when he collided with the Namitz couple April 22nd on Midvale Boulevard. Today in court, Cortez pleaded guilty to second-degree reckless homicide for the death of Gregory Namitz and first-degree reckless endangerment for striking his wife, Patricia. He now faces up to 37.5 years of combined prison time and extended supervision. Under the plea agreement, 7 of the 10 charges he faced were dropped.
He admitted to responsibility for criminal conduct for having caused the death of this gentleman walking his dog and having caused great bodily injury to his wife, his widow. The rest of the counts essentially restated those in different legal ways. Getting rid of them doesn't really change the picture, and that is that this is a homicide case for which my client has taken full responsibility.
So now it will be up to Judge Nicholas McNamara to determine just how much time Cortez will actually spend behind bars, and that sentencing will take place January 2nd at 9 a.m. Cortez will remain in jail until sentencing. Mark and Susan.
All right, Eric, thank you. The man accused of sending homemade bombs to prominent Democrats critical of President Trump had his first day in court today. Cesar Sayak's hearing took place in a federal courthouse in Miami, hours after yet another suspicious device similar to the ones he's accused of sending was intercepted in Atlanta. The 56-year-old quietly responded yes when asked if he understood. Court observers say he appeared to get emotional while looking at someone in the courtroom during the brief hearing. The federal charges could send him to prison for decades.
The suspected gunman in this week's deadly synagogue shooting in Pittsburgh made his first court appearance today. He's accused of killing 11 people and injuring 6 others. Nicole Killian is outside the synagogue in Pittsburgh with the latest.
Robert Bowers appeared in court shackled and in a wheelchair, recovering from injuries he received during a gun battle with police on Saturday. The 46-year-old long-haul trucker faces 29 federal charges, including hate crimes, and prosecutors intend to pursue the death penalty.
We will have the opportunity to present evidence demonstrating that Robert Bowers murdered 11 people who were exercising their religious beliefs, and that he shot or injured 6 others, including 4 of whom were police officers responding to the shooting.
Law enforcement officials say Bowers used an AR-15 and 3 handguns, all of which he owned legally and had a license to carry. Before the shooting, on a website popular with the alt-right, Bowers posted a photo of 3 handguns he called his Glock family and wrote, "Jews are the children of Satan." He also fixated on a group called the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, or HIAS, which helps refugees from all backgrounds settle in the U.S. Rabbi Jeffrey Myers moved the congregation's Torah from the building this afternoon.
I'm not just concerned about the rise of anti-Semitism, I'm concerned about the rise of hate in our country.
Here outside the synagogue, there's a Star of David memorial for each of the 11 victims. The first of the funerals starts tomorrow.
It still doesn't feel real. Like conceptually, I heard what happened, but I can't reconcile it at all.
The victims include a doctor, brothers with special needs, and a 97-year-old woman who was often the first to walk into services. Nicole Killian for WISC News 3.
And members of the Jewish community in the greater Madison area are reacting to this tragedy with shock and sadness.
They are calling for compassion and solidarity at a time when they feel that they have been violated. Rose Schmidt spoke with a local rabbi today and tells us how he is reassuring his people this week. Rose?
That's right. Rabbi Jonathan Beich says the local Jewish community is relatively small but active and vibrant. There are about 4,500 people involved locally. The community is made up of 3 synagogues, including Rabbi Beich's own, Temple Beth El. He is currently reviewing the security protocols there. He described his reaction to the shooting in Pittsburgh as one of revulsion, but wants people to take this as an opportunity to confront lawmakers and politicians running for office about the best ways forward. And it's an opportunity to remind people of different faiths to watch out for each other.
Affects people who have fought for years to try and reduce prejudice in our community, and to be objects of that, to be victims of that kind of prejudice. Even though it happened in Pittsburgh, it really affects every Jew, it really affects every American.
Rabbi Beich called the support from the community tremendous. Last night, about 1,000 people piled into First Unitarian Society to mourn the loss of the 11 people killed in the shooting in Pittsburgh. The group included community and city leaders and people of many different faith backgrounds. And tonight at 7 o'clock, Hillel at UW-Madison is partnering with other organizations to host another vigil. Organizers expect more than 500 students to be there, and students who need counseling or support should reach out to University Counseling Services or Hillel staff.
I think the rabbi was right. It affects every American, regardless.
His comments, I think, were so thoughtful and so tremendous.
Yeah. Words we need to hear at this time. Rose, thank you.
Thank you, Rose. There's more to come at 4. When we come back, reaction to a decision by the Packers' Ty Montgomery to ignore the coach's instruction and run a punt return that may have cost the team the game.
And our film critic Will Loper tells us what he thinks of Johnny English Strikes Again. That's when Live at 4 continues. Well, the question facing Packers fans today, should Ty Montgomery still have a job after his questionable decision to run a kickoff out of the end zone?
The Packers were trailing by 2 points with 2 minutes to play when Montgomery caught the ball and started running despite the coach's orders to take a knee. Unfortunately, he fumbled and the Rams ran out the clock without giving Aaron Rodgers the chance to win the game. Players told the NFL Network Montgomery had thrown a tantrum on the sidelines after Green Bay's previous offensive series after being removed from the game. At least one player believed there was carryover from that incident to Montgomery's decision to disregard his coach's instruction. Coach Mike McCarthy just addressed the media, saying Montgomery obviously made a mistake.
As far as, the drama and the nonsense about it, I have nothing to say, but if you want to know if it was emotional in the locker room, you're damn right it was. It was, and it should have been, and I want it to be, because it's a reflection of how much these guys care. It's a reflection on how much they want to win, and it's clearly directly reflects we had, every intention going out there to beat that team, and that's a damn good team.
The Packers will take on the New England Patriots in Boston on Sunday night.
It doesn't get any easier, does it? Some major losses again on Wall Street following a report that the U.S. could impose more tariffs on China. The Dow Industrials fell 245 points, ending the day at 24,442. The NASDAQ Composite Index plunged 116, and the S&P 500 was off 17.
Virtual reality. It's completely immersive, and some people lose track of their surroundings.
That's not gonna happen.
Can I just ask, what is wrong with you?
That was a clip from Johnny English Strikes Again, one of the newest movies to hit theaters. I have a very sophisticated sense of humor.
I think it's always a good sign when the trailer makes you laugh. But is this spy spoof movie worth seeing? Here to let us know what he thinks is our film critic, Will Loper. I will.
Well, that seemed to work for you guys.
I guess it's
Mark
not.
Especially, but I mean, as a whole, this film, it's a very mild British comedy that'll bring a smile to your face, maybe a chuckle or two. But anyway, actual laughs or clever gags are nowhere to be found, and I've just been proven wrong by Mark here. Anyway, Rowan Atkinson, he returns as the bumbling spy who trips and falls his way through missions, but manages to more or less succeed every time. So Rowan Atkinson, he has the timing and comedic sensibilities to pull off great physical comedy, but no sequence in this film really gives him the opportunity to show it off. You can just feel it's a better, funnier movie bubbling under the surface. But everything feels like it was the first thought they came up with, and they stuck with it instead of thinking how they could make the scene even funnier. Now, with any luck, this movie will mean Johnny English's retirement. Instead of going to go see this, you go rent some old Pink Panther films with Peter Sellers instead.
Yeah, they knew how to do it.
They absolutely knew how to do it.
I would think this would get old, this movie, after a while.
I mean, it's the same gag over and over. He just manages to screw up the situation somehow. Things end up okay, but it's mostly people falling over or him just...
But the cast is so funny. Emma Thompson, anything Emma Thompson's
She is terrific in this film,
Especially when she does comedy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I laughed.
No, I liked it too.
What's the
rating?
rating?
I gave it 2 VR headsets out of 5. That sequence was sort of funny.
All right, up next, mid-90s.
Hey, man. Looks cool to me. I'm Ruben. Stevie.
That's why we ride a piece of wood, what that does to somebody's spirit.
So Jonah Hill writes and directs this coming-of-age tale. Yes, that Jonah Hill of Superbad and other assorted raunchy comedies. However, this is not a comedy. Rather, it's a look at a group of boys growing up, skating together, and doing all kinds of things they really shouldn't be doing at that age, like smoking cigarettes and drinking. This film is a perfect time capsule of the 90s, capturing the feel and the way that kids acted and talked to each other during that time. Even though they often use abhorrent language, it's completely accurate. And even if you have no interest in skateboarding, this movie is more about the bond that forms between the boys and the dynamics of members of a group of friends. Every child and teen actor in this film gives an amazing performance. It's gripping to watch from start to finish. And say, go see this. Give Jonah Hill the support to come out with more movies, because this is a great start to his directing career.
What a surprise.
Absolutely, a huge surprise.
And you felt for all these kids personally?
Oh, absolutely. And there is a point where they sort of talk about, hey, you know, we're all coming from all these not so great families or home situations, but we find each other and we stick together, and it's really great.
I've never heard of this film.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go see it.
What's the rating?
If 4 Jonah Hill's wearing a director's hat out of 5.
Well, that's good. Good rating.
Good for
See
him.
more stuff.
All right, next week.
We have Bohemian Rhapsody, the story of Freddie Mercury and Queen.
This is getting a lot of buzz.
A lot of
advertising.
I love the music of Queen, so
fingers crossed.
fingers crossed.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Will.
Thanks, guys.
Well, still to come before the midterm elections, of course, our next Tuesday.
Besides doing your civic duty, voting can actually make you happy. We'll find out why coming up after Dana's forecast.
Take a look at this. At first glance, this looks like a regular day on the water, but look a little closer. The Willamette River in Oregon had a few visitors of the supernatural variety. Witches on paddleboards garnered quite a bit of attention over the weekend. This is the second annual stand-up paddleboard witch paddle, aptly named, with every witch donating clothing to Portland area charities.
I love it.
It's such a great image.
Cool.
Isn't that a great image?
It's beautiful. Great idea. Today is Monday, October 29th. According to Google, this is International Internet Day.
The first electronic messages from one computer to another on this date in 1969. Can you believe that?
That's very cool. A while ago, yeah.
It's also National Hermit Day. That's me. Take some time out from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. Spend some quality time alone.
You'd rather be at home?
Yeah.
You're like a cat.
I am like a cat.
It's also National Cat Day for all of you cat lovers. Of course, this gives you a chance to make sure you let your pet that he or she is well. The cat's meow. It's also a good day to adopt a cat or a kitten that needs of a home. Cats were first domesticated about 12,000 years ago in the Middle East.
We should have gotten a picture of your cat, Dana. Dana has the cutest cat.
Thor.
Thor, little man, little tornado.
You know, some people would say every day is cat day.
Yeah. I think so. I think in a cat's world, every day is cat day.
It is.
Yeah.
I think so.
All right, well, it's the cat's pajamas outside.
It's pretty rocking it. Once you get the sun out there, I mean, Thor's a fan of laying in the sunbeam, so it works. Cat pajamas definitely work. Yes, we do have some sun outside. We do have a little bit of switches, though, as we look towards the end of October. We'll take a look at your forecast right after the break. Really not too bad of a day for us. We started off with a few clouds, certainly cloudy overnight. That's why our temps really didn't fall much for us overnight. But now that we've got a little clearer sky this afternoon, shaping up to be quite pleasant. The same goes for this evening. Our temperature trend go up just a little more, and then it's going to continue to go back down. We got clouds to the north again, a few clouds for us this afternoon, but overall a mostly sunny day. No real threat for showers for us in central and southern Wisconsin. A few isolated showers off to the west, but even those little specks were just light rainfall in the last few hours. We're looking at temperatures still close to 50 degrees at 51 in Madison, 54 in Janesville, right at 50 in Watertown, and about 52 in Mineral Point currently. So it's a little below average. Compared to this time yesterday, though, it's a few degrees warmer for us. Yesterday we had that cloud deck overhead. It was just a little dreary for our Sunday. No gusty conditions outside, though. Yesterday, of course, very gusty. Wind speeds are in the single digits or frankly non-existent. Light and variable for the rest of the evening, so no need to plan in the wind with your evening forecasts. We're going to stay fairly mild for the next several hours, but our next weather system's off to the west. It's going to slowly shift in our direction. We're going to watch the chance for some cloud coverage and showers building in on Tuesday, especially southeast of Madison. That rain chance will be increasing for us. So clouds overnight, and then that shower chance starts to build in by Tuesday evening or afternoon and evening. Again, especially in the southeast corner, it doesn't really look like a washout event nor a widespread event, but it'll be too shocked if you see a raindrop or two tomorrow afternoon. Cloudy in the evening, and then by Wednesday, Halloween, things look fantastic early in the morning. Temperatures will be in the low 40s to upper 30s for us, and then we're looking at afternoon highs closer to average on Wednesday, again in the mid 50s. Same goes for Tuesday, so a mild few days, even with that threat for a few little isolated showers again coming in on Tuesday. As far as your forecast for Wednesday, again, Halloween, if you're heading out in the evening, things look okay right now. A few clouds, but otherwise very mellow outside. Won't be too breezy. Temperatures will be in the low 50s by about 6, and then falling, of course, as we go through the evening. But even by 10 o'clock, we're only at 46 degrees. So I know we've had some very cold Halloweens. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case for Wednesday. Just a little chill in the air. Downtown right now with our Edgewater Skycam looks fantastic if you have evening plans that take you through downtown. Again, just a few clouds in the sky, but a light jacket may be the only thing you need, if that. We're currently sitting close to 51, and that's right where our high was for the day. Not expecting to warm up anymore. Things are just going to continue to cool right on down. We started the day a little warmer than we should have, close to 40. But again, our afternoon highs should have been just a few degrees warmer. Overnight lows only falling into the low 40s for us, partly cloudy and then becoming quite cloudy for us heading into tomorrow. And tomorrow we are looking at a mostly cloudy sky, and we do have the chance for some afternoon and evening showers, but that chance really seems favored towards the southeast corner of the state. Afternoon highs a little closer to average, maybe even a degree or two above average, about 55 for us in Madison, what we're on track for your Tuesday. As we look ahead through the next 7 days, we're going to have a few off and on showers for part of the weekend, but notice a lot of sun mixed on in there. Just a chance for showers, mainly in the southeast corner tomorrow night. Our overnight lows heading into Wednesday will stay close to 40. Won't be too bad because of that cloud deck overhead, but then we'll get a little cooler heading towards the end of the week. Temperatures drop a little bit for us also by the end of the week after that system really slides on through. We do have the chance to see a little bit of a mix heading into Saturday night and Sunday. Sunday, of course, we're falling back. Don't forget the clock. And then heading into next week, we are going to have the chance to see some showers, and that mix continuing for us through the weekend and again into the start of next week.
Oh, already this coming weekend is daylight savings?
Already. We're wrapping up October and heading right into November. I know.
All right.
How did that happen?
I don't know. Halloween looks good, though.
Does look
Yes,
very
Halloween looks wonderful right now.
All right, Dana, thank you.
Thanks, Dana.
Election Day is 1 week from tomorrow. You may have noticed a commercial or two on television.
Yes. Doing your civic duty is not only important, it can actually bring happiness and a sense of purpose. Christine Whalen is a clinical professor in the Department of Consumer Science at UW-Madison. Hi, Christine. Good to see you.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back.
So how does this happen?
So we all know that we should vote, right? But we don't often think about how it could be good for our well-being and our happiness. Just think about it. So on the day you think, should I actually go? You know, I'm juggling lots of meetings. But if you go, you get in line, maybe you see your neighbors, you see your community, you get to wear one of these I voted stickers, and all of a sudden you realize you're part of something larger than yourself. Right? That gives us a boost, right? It gives us a larger purpose, not just me, but I am taking action for the larger we. So that's one reason. The second reason is it actually reduces your stress to vote. Because we've all seen all these political ads, right? We have a sense that the world is going crazy around us. But if you can take a step toward putting somebody with your values, your ideas, in a position of representative democracy, you can maybe breathe a little easier yourself. So that's the number two. And the third big reason is that it boosts our sense of agency. And agency is kind of a fancy academic word for having control over your life. You know, if we think that we are out of control, that we have no say in what's going on, that's just downright depressing, right? I mean, people who feel hopeless, they kind of get depressed and they want to check out. Instead, checking in, learning about folks who are running for public office, learning about any referendums that are on your ballot, really getting engaged is a way of boosting our sense of control and boosting our happiness.
But then the other side of that is, well, my vote does. What does it matter?
Right.
They're all the same. You know, what's the difference?
Well, I mean, the recent elections, some of which have been very, very close. So your actual vote really may matter. But even if you say, oh, it's just a drop in the bucket, think about what it can do for you and your well-being, for your community, and a way of kind of showing up and saying, I'm a part of things, I'm involved, and be proud of that.
Does voting early hold the same satisfaction?
You know, that is a question that I do not know. But I would imagine that part of the fun of it is being there on the day, right? Being caught up on election day in the activity. So even if you voted early, I highly recommend trying to get one of those I voted stickers and getting in on the election day action. But now is the time to learn about all of the issues. Now is the time to get involved. And you can have that boost of happiness and well-being and agency all week long.
There you go.
Oh, there you go. And it's very important. I always feel like, regardless if you make a decision one way or the other, that's always better than not doing anything, because uncertainty is toxic. But if you're taking an action in some direction, that's always a positive.
And all the better if it is a researched and well thought out action that you really believe in. So you can say, I stood up for what I believed in. I make a difference.
And there's no guilt then of not voting.
No. That you don't want on the day after the election. You don't want to feel that, oh, I should have gotten there, then maybe my team would have won, kind of thing, right? So you really get in there and try to make a difference.
More reason than ever to get out and vote.
Absolutely. This year's an important one.
Christine, thanks very much.
Christine,
thanks
good
for
to see
having
you.
Great
me.
information. Well, the high school football playoffs are underway in the States.
When we come back in Pennsylvania, they've taken a different approach to the game.
More kids are playing flag football than ever before. I'm Tom Hansen in Windber, Pennsylvania, with a look at whether flag is safer than tackle for young players.
I've looked downtown, kind of a cloudy view of the state capitol on this Monday afternoon, but nice and mild outside.
Yeah, it is 50 degrees. That
feels pretty
we'll
good.
Take it.
Parents of kids who want to play tackle football face a difficult choice these days.
Football remains intensely popular, but studies link the sport to an increased risk of brain injury, especially for the youngest players.
Tom Hansen spent time with a youth league in Pennsylvania that is finding another way to teach the fundamentals of the game.
We're gonna run it on three, on three, on three. Ready?
Football is a way of life in Pennsylvania. How important is football to you and your friends?
To me, it's like everything.
Several days a week, as the sun begins to set,
All right, boys, let's go. Let's get our flags on.
the kids at Winber Youth Football League suit up
We go back pedal, back pedal.
to learn a contact sport with no hitting.
Guys, get on!
Winber has joined a number of schools turning to flag football for its youngest players.
When we were playing tackle here, we noticed, man, it was like every game we were sending them over to the ambulance for the concussion protocol. And it just got to the point where, like, this is crazy.
In a paper published this fall, the Aspen Institute recommended flag football as a standard for kids before age 14. Dr. Robert Cantu is a concussion specialist at Boston University. He says children are more vulnerable to hits because their heads are disproportionately bigger than their bodies, and their necks are weaker.
People that start playing tackle football under the age of 12 have a greater chance for later life behavior, cognitive, and mood issues compared with a group that started later in life.
NFL Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre agrees. He supports a bill in Illinois to do away with tackle for young players. Parents we spoke to say flag football is a great alternative.
He's learning the game of football and learning his, the fundamental skills and being safe at the same time.
And for the kids of Winber, it's still about the love of the game.
Ready, go! That's what I've been doing my whole life. I've been playing football.
A win-win for these young athletes.
Down! Set, hut!
Tom Hansen for WISC News 3.
It really is a great alternative to tackle football.
It just makes sense.
It's too bad that you can't play flag a little older. I think it ends at about the middle school level, but it's a great game.
Besides Illinois, 4 other states, New Jersey, Maryland, New York, and California, all introduced bills to ban tackle football for kids under 12, but none had enough support to pass.
The debate continues.
It does.
When we come back, we're taking your calls for Dr. Zorba Pastor.
The number to call, 270-9933. Dr. Zorba Pastor's in the house. Zorba, what are we talking about today?
We're going to talk about stroke, how to prevent it, and what you should do.
When it comes to traffic throughout much of Dane County, right now things look okay. I want to bounce down to Grant County, though, just south of Platteville along 151 South. There's an accident there. The road is closed from Woody Lane all the way to Airport Road. You can see a little bit of a backup, also a bit of a delay on the northbound side near that accident, and that's 151 South, just south of Platteville. Again, much of Dane County looking okay right now. If you're on the Beltline eastbound, actually cruising along quite okay, 53 miles per hour, and then 57 closer to John Nolan Drive. Middleton, a little slower as you're heading through 14, but that's to be expected. And then over near Cross Plains right now, a little bit of, or Cottage Grove, excuse me, things are slowing down a little bit. 39 looks okay though, and no accidents to report in that direction. Verona also looking pretty standard for almost 5 o'clock. Drive times look okay. University Avenue to 39, and from 39 back to University Avenue, both about 15 minutes. And then some Prairie to downtown should only take you 6 minutes. So other than that accident in Grant County, again on 151 South, everything else is looking okay right now. Mark and Susan.
All right, Dana, thank you. It is pumpkin boat time in Casterly, Belgium, where a real pumpkin regatta is organized every year. In hollowed-out giant pumpkins, competitors paddle in teams on the water. Whoever is back first wins. Casterly is known for its giant pumpkins, and since the 18th century, people from Casterly were known as pumpkin eaters because it was the only vegetable that could grow on the poor sandy soil. The pumpkin regatta is so unique that people come from all over the world to compete.
Very few capsize this year. Well, there's one.
There's one. Spoke too soon. Well, Dr. Zorba Pastor is with us today in the studio. Zorba, welcome.
Hi,
It's a
Zorba.
pleasure to be here.
We're taking your calls at 270-9933. And while we wait for your calls to clear, today is World Stroke Awareness Day.
Exactly. Now, from the time I started medical school until now, there has been a 75% drop in stroke. That is dramatic. A lot of that is due to hypertension, taking blood pressure pills, no smoking, not drinking excess alcohol, better fruits and vegetables, and exercise. But the number one is high blood pressure, and many people still do not have their high blood pressure under control. And the reason is they don't take their meds, or they don't want to be on 2 pills or 3 pills. And
can you do it without medication?
Well, you can for some people. For mild high blood pressure, yes. Reduction in sodium, exercise, diet, losing weight, all those things can really make a difference. And for others, really pills, and pills really do make a difference.
And they changed the numbers a little bit on what the dangers of high blood pressure are.
Yeah, we change the numbers every year to fool you. But that's what it seems like. But we change it on the best information that there is. And basically, the whole goal is to get you around 130, we'll say, over 85, 80 or 85. The whole goal also is to make sure your blood pressure is not too low when you're older so you don't fall. And that was part of the issue. So it changes about every 3 to 5 years. We just fine-tune it.
What about those home monitors? Are you a fan of those?
I think home monitors are great as long as you pay $50. In other words, you've got to pay about $50 to get a good one. Omron, O-M-R-O-N, I think it's a really good company that makes them, and you've got to put them on right, read the instructions. And when in doubt, take it into your doctor's office, take your home monitor in, and see whether or not it reads about the same.
Good
That's
idea.
a good way to do it.
All right, let's go to the calls. We'll start with Barb in Poinette. Hi, Barb.
Yes, hello. I just have a quick question about having a cold. How long are you contagious before symptoms and after?
Well, first of all, you are contagious before you have your cold.
And that's contagious before you know it.
You're contagious before you know it. That's exactly it. You're contagious, kind of depends on the virus itself, but I would say if you've got a fever, 2 or 3 days after your fever is gone is really when the contagion goes away. And then what you really want to do is make sure you use Purell or something else on your hands, and of course cover your mouth when you're sneezing with your arm like this, not like my mother used to say, with your hands. And that's the best way to do it. So,
can you have a fever with a cold, or
you can? There's no absolute there. A cold and a fever, it all depends. If you're a child with a cold, you're going to get a high fever. If you're an adult with a cold, you may not get as high a fever.
But if you have a fever, in other words, it's not like, okay, now I have the flu.
No.
Okay.
Flu's a respiratory.
Not at all.
All right, let's go to Timmy in Baraboo. Hi, Timmy. What's your question?
My partner has been feeling dizzy the last couple days. But physically, she's good and everything, but she just gets dizzy and has to, catch herself on a counter.
Okay, sure. Well, dizziness can be due to lots of different things. First of all, if you're dizzy like his partner, so you have to catch yourself on the counter, that is serious, and that means you ought to go definitely get it checked out because we want to prevent falls. I want to tell you something interesting about Dane County. Last year, Dane County, more people died of falls than died of murders and suicide combined. Wow. And so we don't think about falls as a major cause of death. And so if you're really dizzy and you're falling, you've got to be checked out because it can be any one of a number of things, from an inner ear infection to too much medication, low blood pressure to heart disease, something you really need to see a doctor for.
All right, nothing to fool around with. All right, let's see. Sandy in Reedsburg. Hi, Sandy.
Hi.
Hi, what's your question?
The question is, what is the difference between the regular flu vaccine and the senior flu vaccine?
Good question. Good question. The senior flu vaccine has more, it's stronger than the regular flu vaccine because seniors are weaker than regular people. In other words, you need to have a stronger vaccine in order to be able to get a response to actually make sure you're going to fight influenza. But that's all. It's a more concentrated vaccine.
At what age do they
at the age of 65. Now, there are other caveats to that. Some people have to get it before that based on their disease, but generally at the age of 65, you get the super duper flu vaccine. And everyone should get a flu shot. 20 to 30,000 people last year died of influenza. We don't think about that, but that's equivalent to 26 World Trade Centers who died of influenza last year, and we just don't think about how important it is. It is the main killer in this country.
And excuses for not getting the shot just are stupid.
Yes, dumb and stupid. That's exactly it.
I'm going to get sick from it.
That's right.
Or
I'm
strain.
healthy. Or I'm healthy, and I never get influenza, and this and that, and this and that. They're all excuses. And then the idea that the flu shot causes autism turns out not to be true. There's been lots of research on that. It is a safe thing to get, and like I said, 20 to 30,000 people will die or died last year from influenza. You don't want to be one of those people that may die or need to be hospitalized for it.
Yeah, it was a thrill when I got my shot this year. Said, no, you don't need the senior one yet.
Let's try to get one more call in quickly regarding the flu vaccine. Hi, Debbie. What's your question?
Hello.
Go ahead. What's your question?
Hi. My question is about the flu vaccine. Is it unusual to get severe chills with that?
It happens. Doesn't happen all the time. But some people, because you've got an immune response, will actually develop some fever and some chills. So not totally unusual, and that's the price you pay to stay immunized.
It's better than getting the flu.
You bet.
Sorba, thank you. You're gone for a couple of weeks?
Stay well, down for a couple of weeks. I'll see you before Thanksgiving.
Wonderful. Good timing.
Thank you all for calling in. We'll get to your questions next time, and we'll be right back with a final check of your forecast. Not a bad evening.
No, not at all. It's pretty nice outside, mostly clear, comfortable even. Temperatures over the next few hours, of course, will start to fall. We'll be in the mid to low 40s overnight. That's where we'll land, starting off the day in the mid 40s, and then tomorrow we are looking at clouds, high temperatures, though very close to average in the mid 50s for afternoon highs for our Tuesday. Good news. Wednesday looks much sunnier for us, and that's great for Halloween. Things should be just okay outside for any trick-or-treater plans, or just anyone who wants to feel a little spooky and enjoy being outside in the fall weather for Wednesday.
And a week from today, it'll be getting dark right now.
Yes, yes, we're almost there.
Thank you, Dana. Tomorrow here on Live at 4, psychologist Shiloh Mergain has some advice on how to deal with chronic pain.
And Consumer Reports looks at antibiotic side effects in children. We'll talk about what every parent needs to know about antibiotic reactions. That's coming up tomorrow on Live at 4. In today's Final Touch, perhaps the scariest place to be on Halloween.
Preparations for Halloween.